There's this song by Slantan. Overthinking of his soft problem. Better days are coming, my there. Okay, guys, it's not a karaoke day today. And so before I digress, I just want to ask, how many times have you allowed your thoughts to stop you from doing something? Like, because of overthinking, you've stopped yourself from starting out, from doing something, from making that phone call, pursuing that relationship, just anything, because you just kept replaying it again and again and again and again in your head, and you just overthought yourself out of it. Why you're thinking of it? Hey vibers, welcome to episode 11 of My Two Cents on Vibing with Stacia. I remain your host Stacia, and if you're new here, it's a pleasure and delight to have you. We do have a tradition where we subscribe, turn on the notification, and stay tuned for posts like this every week. And to my OGs who know the drill, thank you so much for your immeasurable support. So let's get into it. Overthinking. Now, there is no issue with thinking about a problem, thinking about a relationship, thinking about a plan, thinking about your next step. There is no problem with thinking. In fact, you should always think, right? That is you utilizing your brain optimally. So yes, you should think. However, you know the saying, too much of everything is bad. Yes, too much of thinking is bad. And that is what we want to address today, the dangers of overthinking. Like I said, thinking in itself is absolutely great. However, when that thinking is prolonged without any solution, without any viable action, then it's worthless. That is where the problem is. There is this water glass analogy that it doesn't matter the weight of the water glass. What matters is how long you hold it for. So if you hold it for a minute, it's fine. I mean, you take a sip, you drop it, that is cool. If you hold it for 1 hour, your hands start to ache. And if you hold it for the entire day, you probably go numb. No mobile function. So the problem is not the water glass, it's not the weight of the water glass. It's how long you hold on to it. And that's what overthinking is like generally. So if there is a problem, you identify that problem and then you're fixated on that problem, not the solution. You're just fixed on the problem. You're thinking about it. That becomes really unhealthy. I don't want to call myself an overthinker because I'm breaking that chain, but it's something I've experienced time and time again. And let me tell you the two major dangers of overthinking. Number one, overthinking steals your joy. It steals your peace. You see that thing called peace of mind? Overthinking takes it. In fact, it takes it and it cages it and it throws the key inside the deep sea. You can't even find it. It steals your peace. You're restless. And it's not a good place to be. Trust me, it is not a good place to be. Where you don't have peace of mind, you can't sleep at night. It's really bad. It's a danger zone, no crossing zone. It's a danger zone. When you get to that point, you know there is truly an issue. Because once your peace of mind is disrupted, it affects you physically, mentally, emotionally. Literally, you become sick. And it's the kind of sickness where you go to the hospital, they can't actually find anything wrong with you. You're just sick. You're sick mentally. Your mind needs to sleep, needs to stop, but it can't stop because it's fixated on something and it's working overtime. You don't want to be in that position. The number two danger of overthinking, it amplifies your fears and your worries. It's okay to have fears. It's okay to have worries. It's okay to worry about something. But once you start overthinking the fears, that is where the problem is. You kick yourself out of even doing it. Say, for instance, you want to fly out for a business trip or a conference that would actually benefit you. And then you start to think, oh, the airline I want to use, they recorded a plane crash last week. And you go to bed thinking, what if this plane crashes while we're in the air or while I'm traveling for this conference? You sleep on it. It's okay to be concerned about whether the plane will crash, because if there's been one recently and you're thinking about the plane crashing, it's a valid worry. Yeah, it's okay. But then the next day you say, what if this plane crashes? If I enter this plane, it's today, or they've not had a plane crash in years. You not be like, what if it's the day I'm on this plane that it will crash? And you see that trip you want to do, you will not even travel, you won't do it again. The worst part is you might even sleep, and because it's in your subconscious, you start dreaming about yourself in the plane, and then the plane crashed. And when it crashed, you'll be like, I knew it. I knew it. I should not this trip. I knew I should not be doing it. It's you enthroning your fears in your mind. You've given them that throne, and once they've sat on the throne, they will dominate your mind. There is nothing you'll be thinking of except that fear. Because you held on to it. You held on to it the first day, held on to it the second day, held on to it the third day. You didn't need to. So once you start holding on to things that you shouldn't, it just amplifies your worries. It doesn't solve your problem. And I know it's not easy to push away your fears, push away your worries, and act like they don't exist. And that is not what I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to ignore your fears or ignore your worries or, act like they don't exist. Because truthfully, they do. So you should think about them. You should, have that time to think, okay, these are my issues. Think about it. I used to be in that situation where I was overthinking everything in my life, where I was worrying about what my next step will be, what my life will look like in the next 2 years, in the next 5 months. And the truth is, I got so fixated on all my worries, on all the fears that I had going on at the moment, and it really made me sick. Physically, emotionally, mentally, I was just overthinking everything, everything. And the worst part about overthinking is you're thinking or imagining the worst case scenario. So it's not even that you're thinking about, the best part. Once you're fixated on it, you start feeling all the fears, all the negativity surrounding your issue or surrounding you becomes bigger than what they actually are. And so it's a habit that you need to break. No one was born an overthinker. It's just something we pick up because of fear, because of experience, probably betrayals, all the negative experiences we've got to see in the world. Probably not even you. It could be someone you love experiencing all those things, and you just inherited that fear, you just carried it on, and it becomes a habit. With marriages, for instance, there are so many broken marriages, and young people coming up will start thinking, marriage is not for me because I can't go through. I've seen firsthand what it can do to someone and how bad it can be. Now that is you inheriting someone else's fear. The moment you are fixated on that fear and you start thinking it again and again and again and again, and you keep consuming things that feed that fear, you just stay there in that habit. You're overthinking it, and once you start overthinking it, marriage is not for you because you've cancelled it, because the fears that you've overthought again and again and again are now bigger than what marriage is or the good part. It's with anything. So the moment you're fixated on it, the moment you borrow that fear and you fix your mind on the fear, on the worry, on the problem, it becomes an issue. You think about it today, you think about it tomorrow, day and night. That is where the problem is. So I'm going to be showing you what has been working for me as someone who is trying to consistently break away from that habit of overthinking. And I'm going to be sharing tips on what has worked for me. First thing first is recognizing the issue or the object of your thinking. What is this thing? Why am I thinking about it? I'm going to give a practical example. When I was jobless, looking for a job, the issue at that point was I am jobless. Why am I thinking about it? I need money. I need to sort out bills. I need to live, and I can't do that without having a job. Being jobless stops all these things. So that is the why I was fixated on my wants. So I've identified that this is the issue. So when I wake up in the morning, I think about it. Right, I wake up and I'm like, another day waking up in the house, no having a job, nothing to go to. It's okay for that few minutes. The next thing I started doing to break out of that, because once I start my day thinking about it, it soils the entire day for me. So when I wake up and I think, no job today. I look at my bank account, it's zero. Rent is coming, and I'm just thinking. I just lay in bed and I start thinking and I start thinking and I start thinking. When I decided I know I needed to break this habit, what I started doing is I wake up, think about the issue. It's okay. 10, 5, 20 minutes, I lay in bed, think about it, and then I ask myself, what can I do about this? What is in my control? So that's the second thing you do. Identify what is in your control. What can you change? What do you have control over in regards to that issue? So, case scenario, we are jobless, right? What do I have control over? I don't have control over the HR who will view my resume or who will give me a job. I don't have control over that. But what I can control is ensure my CV meets the requirements of the job, and to wake up and start applying for jobs and apply for as much jobs as I can. Right? That I have control over. I don't have control of who is at the back end who will see the job, but what I can do is I ensure my CV fits the job requirements and I keep applying for jobs as much as I can. I keep sending in the applications. I don't stop on that end. Those are the things I can control. The next thing I started doing was shifting my focus from what my issue was. So that's the third thing. Focus on something else. And how I did this was I created a to-do list. So each day I have a to-do list. I started focusing on the things, like I said, I had control over. And how you focus on the things you have control over is you have to do them. You have to take action. Because you can't be worried about being jobless and then laying in bed the entire day. How would you get the job? So you have to focus on things that you can control. Take action. So I had a to-do list. I focused on short-term goals, right? Gym became a priority because I needed something to upscale my health. So gym, job applications. If I need to cook and eat, there's break time, cook and eat. I plan my day to remain productive and not to focus on my problem. Because what can I do to solve the problem? That is what I focused on. These are the things at that point, I had control over, I could do. And I will show you. This is my to-do list board. I got this from the training in my last job. So as you can see, this was 6th July 2026. That was the last time I actually filled this, and that was when I resumed my new role. And it says, resume my new role. Grateful. Usually you would have seen this to-do list for the day I put the date. Number 1, go to the gym. Number 2, job applications. Number 3, training. Number 4, eat. So usually that was my to-do list. So I was taking control of the things that I had control over. I was doing the best I could with what I had at the moment. And then the fourth thing that worked for me was when I find out that I was spiraling again and going into my overthinking mode, I take deep breaths and I take a walk. The walk is to be on my to-do list, so I do that like usually in the evening, because I find that when the weather is colder and you step outside, that fresh air that touches you just cools you down. And when you're overthinking, it's like a computer overheating, so your body is actually hot. I don't know if it happens to anyone, but it happens to me. My body is usually hot, like it feels like I'm heating up like inside. So when I step outside and that cold air just hits me on the face, it helps me to just relax, calm down, and just take in that moment. So that is me shifting my focus. So these are the things that actually like really worked for me, and I just learned about this one during training last 2 weeks. So it's the 5 4 3 2 1 rule. Now I think it has to do with your 5 senses. Number 5, look for 5 things you can see, right? 4 things you can feel. 3 things you can't hear. 2 things you can smell, and one thing you can taste. I think this also works. I've not really practicalized it, but it should work, because the whole aim of this 5 4 3 2 1 rule is that you shift your focus. So once you notice you're in that overthinking mood, your mind is now fixed on your problem, You do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule. Look for 5 things around you that you can see. If you need to step outside, step outside. Look for 5 things. When you're able to identify 5 things, it brings you back to what is the immediate, what is present. 4 things you can feel. You understand? You touch the grass, a car, the road, a building, whatever. 4 things you can feel. 3 things you can hear: people around you, the birds, anything, like that bike. Yeah. And number two things you can smell. Could be anything, flowers, the air, anything. Just smell something. And number one, something you can taste. You could just drink water. So once you do these 5 things at once, you're living in the present. You're focused on what is now, what is here. Because overthinking, it's you actually living in your head. So once you notice you're beginning to enter that dark room where you're spiraling in your head, do these things to bring you back to the present. It's a terrible thing to overthink, I know, and I'm not even saying it's easy for you to break it. Bad habits are really hard to break, but one step at a time. You can pick any of whatever I've shared that has helped me, or go online and check how to stop overthinking. There are so many methods or so many things that actually helped for different people. You can pick whatever one that is simple, something that you could work on, and then start working on it. There is no point stressing yourself over something that you have zero control over. So it's a new month. This is August, right? And I know the year is coming to an end so fast because we're in August already, and you're thinking, the year is almost over. What have I achieved? What do I have to show for it? My life has not changed. I still feel the same. I am still trapped. The year is almost over, but it is not over, and there are so many things that can still change for you, so many things that are still possible. What I want you to start doing is focus on the things you have control over. If you're having issues in your relationship, focus on what you can control. Don't overthink the negative things, because once you start thinking or overthinking or dwelling on the negative things, it cripples you. If you're having financial crisis, career crisis, focus on the things you can change. What can you do to improve yourself? You're not getting jobs, you're not getting callbacks. What can you do? Go for extra trainings, seek help, get a mentor. Focus on the things you can do, the things you have control over. Start taking action rather than spending hours thinking about the negative thing, or thinking, oh, nobody really likes you, you're never going to get that promotion. If you're thinking you're never going to get that promotion, people that are getting the promotion, what are they doing differently? Ask questions. Okay, focus on the things you have control over. If they just don't like you at work, they just don't like you, and that one you cannot change. However, if there are ways you can become better and put yourself out there on the map, go for it. So focus on what you can do, right? If you're thinking about, oh, your health, you need to start the gym. Start the gym. Don't overthink, oh, what if I don't lose the weight? What? Just start out. Control what you can. Focus on what you can control. And that is how you take power back from your mind, from overthinking. That is how you regain your power. You focus and channel your energy into what you can control. You're not going to be able to control everything. So stop thinking about, oh, how you want to control everything, because you can never control everything. And sometimes you're doing your best and things are just not working the way it should work. Don't focus on why it is not working. Focus on what can you do to better it. I think it's the shifting of the focus. So rather than be fixated on the negative things and start overthinking all the negative things that amplify your fears and your worries, focus on the things you can control, the positive things, so that it can boost your morale as well. Because overthinking, whether it's your negative thinking or the positive thinking, have the same influence. So if you fixated on something negative for a long time, it just deteriorates you, makes you sick, it becomes problematic. And if you're focused on the positive things, the good things, the action, it boosts you. It boosts your well-being, it boosts your mental capacity, it helps open doors for you. So if you're going to be an overthinker, focus on the good things. So the assignment for this week is we're going to shift our focus, right? Overthinking is bad, not good for us, especially when we are focused on the problem and not the solution. So if you're going to be an overthinker for the new month, for the rest of the year, for this new week, focus on the positives. Focus on what you have control over. Focus on what you can do better and better things. So thank you for sticking with me on this episode, and I will see you next Sunday. And before I leave, if you've not subscribed and followed this channel yet, why? What are you waiting for? Eh? Why are you overthinking it? Why are you overthinking following this channel and subscribing? Why are you overthinking it? Don't overthink it. Just click on that button there. And that is it. It's easy. Like a breeze. So I will see you next week. Bye bye, bars.